A good Voch Raboisai. We're here live in Ptil Chelet. Omer B'zei Romer Masom Shmuel. Tcheles Ein Bom Shum Klaim. So a lot of the sugya, Raboisai, I said this again, I'm going to say it again and again. When it says Tcheles, sometimes it's not like that, but when it says Tcheles, in the Hebrew shir today, when he's like he described, how do you dye Tcheles? It's referring to over here. Tcheles means tzitzis. Tcheles ein bo mishum klayim vafilu b'talis p'tura. Klayim means shatnez. There is no problem of shatnez when you're dealing with tzitzis, even in a garment that doesn't need tzitzis at all. What garment doesn't need tzitzis? My talis p'tura. What does it mean? You're going to tell me it's one of these garments that's very, very small. You have a talis that a little child, a 3-year-old, that's the shear of tzitzis we know. It has to be a beged that covers your head and most of your body. If an adult walks out with that garment, chayiv and tzitzis. If the young child it doesn't even fit him, even though an adult once in a while would use it just to go outside for a second, p'tura, you don't need to put tzitzis. And perhaps that's the pshat. When it comes to shatnez, there's no problem with shatnez. What does it mean? But if you're going to tell me that means there's no isser shatnez at all, but not now. We learned it would still be usher. There's no such thing as temporary climb. Shatnez is shatnez. We're talking about just continuation. We're talking about a garment that a young child wears. So if he wears it, it's chayiv and tzitzis. If it's chayiv but tzitzis, it's very simple, right? If you're chayiv and tzitzis, no shatnez. Potter and tzitzis, yes shatnez. You get it? Because tzitzis pushes off shatnez. So if you have to wear tzitzis, then there's no shatnez. If you don't wear tzitzis, you don't have to put tzitzis on there, then there is a problem with shatnez. So we have to understand, what does it mean that there's no shatnez when it comes to a beged, a garment that is potter from tzitzis? What kind of garment is this? Says Gemara, we had this case yesterday. Hitel mutelas. What happened? Hitel mutelas. That's what I was talking about. If you already have strings, this is like hitel mutelas, big time. You already have strings on the corner, and you add another set of strings to the same corner. Now, when you put the second set of strings, you don't need strings. There's no point to the second strings. So that's the pshat. Even though you don't need strings, why? Because you already have strings. There's no isser klein. There's no isser shatnez. That's the pshat you potter from shatnez. Why? So we have to understand it. Because each one could be used for tzitzis. You could tear off the first one and use the second one. You could tear off the second one, use the first one. Bekitzer, they're considered one tzitzis for this purpose, and one tzitzis doesn't have shatnez. As the Gemara, we had it yesterday. We already had the halacha. That what? That if you add another pair of tzitzis to the same corner, and you rip the first one off, the second one is kosher. Why is the second one kosher? We already explained yesterday. Because when you rip off the first one, you made the second one. It's not tazvul imanasi, you're creating the second one. Okay? So we already said halacha, why I have to say it twice? So the Gemara, there's two separate halachas here. We learn one from the other. Halacha number one is that if you do so, you add a second pair of tzitzis to the corner, it's still good. Second of all, you're not over on shatnez. There's no issue shatnez. That I learned after I learned the first halacha. Talis kefula chayeves b'tzitzis. I found this as a prop. Maybe Mendy remembers it from those days. It was in my prop folder, so I don't have to make a prop. What happens? A guy has, this is kol hanarim talis. Does he still have one of those? Massive, they sell these talesim that are massive. Human being can't wear it. But he wants to wear it. He's a cheapskate. He bought one talis, one for Kol HaNarim, one for the whole year. So he folds it over. He folds it over like so. So now it's like this. Now he folds it over. Now he has 4 corners. So he puts the tzitzis in the 4 corners. The problem is that when it unfolds, look where the tzitzis are. They're in the center. Yeah? In the wrong spot. They're over here. Now you have 6 corners. 1, 2, and these center ones used to be corners. 3, 4, and over here 5, 6. So what do you do? You have to put the tzitzis when you fold it. Where you fold it, so this is the folded area. You put it on that corner, on those 2 corners. Reb Shimon Poiter, Reb Shimon doesn't say it's potter completely. He just says, do not put it on these funny corners, because as the Gemara is going to say in a second, it's problematic. What happens when you open it up? Put it on the main corners, like the talis of Kol HaNarim. Tarabana. Talis k'ful chayev b'tzitzis. Reb Shimon Poiter. Reb Shimon says you don't put it on the middle corners, you put it on the edge. V'shavin. Everybody agrees. Everybody agrees that if you made a nice stitch right over here, after you folded it, it's not going to open up. So now you created brand new corners. These are perfect. Even Shimon says you have to put it on the folded area. But Tfara, Pshita, if you sewed it, then it's one piece. What's the chiddush? We have today, these the safety pins. How do they call it in Hebrew? Sikat bitachon, safety pin. So that's not really sewing. That's like a temporary thing. Nevertheless, you put the tzitzis on the new created corners, not on the original corners. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Ravuna ikla lebei Rabbi story time. Rabbi Ravuna went to Rabbi Nachman. Literally, in this case, he was using the Kol HaNarim talis. He saw it was massive. It was folded up. And he put the tzitzis exactly like over here on these new corners. If shita of asa chuta of come lade reisha, all of a sudden the stitches came out, popped open, and now his head is, let's say, in this hole right over here, and all of a sudden he has tzitzis right by his shoulder instead of up here because it just came undone. What you have right here is no good. The Chazarah Rachmana b'Raisa. This is not the kanaf that the Torah is referring to. The Torah says kanaf. It has to be on the edges, not in the middle. You look like it's weird what you're doing. You have tzitzis smack in the middle of your talis. Also shadye, so he took it off. He took another pair of tzitzis. And this is going to throw us into a nice sugya of something that we're kind of familiar with. When you have a pair of tzitzis laying in your drawer you bought it from the store, it's in your drawer, do you have to put tzitzis on it or not? What do we know? For whatever reason, it's not so pashut why, but we go by chaves gavra. It's when the human being wears a beged with 4 corners, then he's chayiv in tzitzis. There's another shita, that when you put it into a drawer, when you buy tzitzis, you have to put tzitzis. Omarlei, I don't understand. You just threw it like that into a drawer. You think it's only when you wear tzitzis you have to put on tzitzis? You have a garment that has 4 corners. Make sure it has tzitzis. Zil Ramila. Go ahead and put tzitzis right now. Says Gemara, let me say, I have a right. This case right over here. As they're weaving, they couldn't wait. They were so excited that they had 3 finger breadths of garment, even though it's not Rosh Rubai, they put the tzitzis in right away. What do you see from here? That the chiyuv is not on the person. The person's not wearing the tzitzis. It's in the machine still. Oh, but it's my possession. I own this garment. I'm chayiv in tzitzis. Shani chasidim machmer shai. Don't bring any raya from a chassid of those days because they are super machmer. Upligid malacha. This is great. He argues with an angel, a malach. What happened? The malach ashkechel Rav Katino the mekases dino. The malach found, what time is that? I have no idea what time it is. 5 to 10. When is the Hebrew shir starting? Okay, we're going to have to be mizdaris here. What happened? The Malach gave Musar. The Malach Ashkechele Rav Ketino, the Mekasis Dina. Rav Ketino had a talus. Amarle, Ketino. It's like, like when you yell at your son, double Lashon. Ketino. Look at you. It's Dina Bekaito. When it comes to the summer, all of a sudden you're wearing cotton. And, let's go back. Let me go back. Ashkechele Rav Ketino, the Mekasis Dina. Rav Ketino was wearing cotton. And yesterday we said you're not allowed to put chelis in the cotton. Right? Because of Beged Laila, you might go to sleep in it. Even though the halach is like Visilo, we still say Gzera, you might fall asleep in it. No chelis. Chelis is shatnez. Why is chelis shatnez? Because chelis is made out of only one thing, wool, tzemer. And cotton is cotton. So now you have wool chelis, cotton beged. It's good if it's during the day, not if you're going to wear it at night. Okay, so you didn't wear chelis. What's his little trick? In the summer, when you want to wear something that's nice and light, you wear cotton, and you say, I don't have to wear chelis. And I wear one of these frocks that has a round corner. I don't have 4 corners, potter. Mamish, the line of tilt cheles. What's going to be with the blue colored strings? How come you're not wearing those? So now he got worried. He's talking to heavenly malach. Omerlei, I don't understand. You're upset at me because I'm not being mekayim the mitzvah of tzitzis? I'm not mechuyev to. It's if I wear it, then I have to wear it. Right? I'm not wearing something I'm mechuyev, so I'm going to get an einish. Omerlei, listen to this. Bizman di'iko rischo and shinon. You're right. You're not over any aveira. You don't have a talus. You're not mechuyev in the tzitzis. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes when he's upset. Behind the glass over there, what's going on? HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes when he's upset. Then people that don't really deserve an einish, they get an einish. If you hold that it's a mitzvah on the person, so he's upset at him, how come you didn't wear something that you should have, that you chayiv to wear? But if the problem is with the garment, at the end of the day, the garment is in the drawer, he's not chayiv. And what are you going to say? That, okay, elamai, it's the reason why the Malach told him that Hashem is upset because the chiv is on you. But it's only when you're wearing something that you're chayiv to wear tzitzis on it, tchelis on it. But if there's no chiyuv, then why would the Torah be upset? You're doing all the shtick. I don't know if there's a better word even. You're doing shtick to get out of a mitzvah. There's a lot of ways to get out of mitzvahs. You can do this, you can do that. Don't find excuses why not to do a mitzvah. Don't go on a tzollah call when it's time to do the daf. You know what I mean? That's a shtick. Tatzdika, that's tatzdika. That's coming up. I have a great reason why I'm not doing it. Omer Av Toivi Bar Kisna, Omer Shmuel. Klei Kufsa, where you have tzitzis inside a drawer, chayavim betzitzis. He holds the chiv is on the talus, not on the person. So if it's in your drawer, you're chayavim tzitzis. We don't pass it like that. We pass it in gavra. You have an old man who's getting ready to pass on to the next world, so he's making tzitzis for his tachrichim. I heard tachrichim is like $130 today. Simple white thing. No, it's like pajamas, the whole thing. I don't know what it is. Okay, I don't want to get into it. But he's making tachrichim. I was just thinking that it's probably in those days it was a hard thing to do. It took a long time. He's getting ready. It's pater from tzitzis. My time, why is pater from tzitzis? You put tzitzis in something that you cover yourself with. And this is not for you to cover. This is for that person. It says Gemara by Hishato, and this is interesting to us. I think we're all going to be surprised by this line right here. At the Lavaya, Vadi Raminale, you should put tzitzis on. Mishum loig l'rosh, cheref, oiseyu. There's the concept of you don't want to mock a poor person. You want to eat a chocolate bar in front of somebody that can't afford it, or to eat steak is on Yom Kippur in Shul. It's like l'rosh. Omer Rachva, Omer Rav Yehuda, tal shenikra chutz l'shalosh yitfar. If the tal is ripped above 3 of the, here, let's pretend this is our beged. This is the beged right over here. So 3 is over here. It ripped somewhere over here, down here. So you let us sew it up. Tal shalosh lo yitfar. But if you sew it up here within 3 fingers, 3 fingers of the edge, because you might sew it and leave a little thread, and that thread we discussed is a problem with Tasif Menachos. You might use that thread for tzitzis. Everybody agrees. Imagine if they had these made in China, little squares, the size of the squares of our talaisim. It's just like iron-on. You put it, pop, on any beged you want, you put an iron, that's not good. Why is it not good? This is already made into a little patch like that. That's what the Gemara says over here. Everybody agrees, even if you bring a giant patch, it's 2 feet by 2 feet, no good. Ubot chelas. What does chelas mean over here, Rabbi Isai? Tzitzis, v'toilaba, no good. V'shavin shemayvi chelas b'makom acher, v'toilaba. If you undid your tzitzis from another beged, so you're allowed to remove tzitzis from one tzitzis to the other. The problem is, why is it a problem? Make sure that they're not, the strings didn't rip. So Taisus asks, my pirush, my shemina, of course, if the strings ripped, then of course it's no good. Well, I have to tell you that if the strings ripped, you shouldn't use it. Says the Shita Mekubetz is over here. If you have it on the side, I have it over here. So Baruch Hashem, I saw that he says a teretz. So we learned that if you have strings that are long and they rip, so if you have 2 fingers worth, some people say if you go around your finger, not 2 fingers, go around your fingers, or you can make a knot, a slip knot, then it's okay. Says the Gemara, that's only when you start out with a long string and it snapped. But you're not allowed to start off like that. And says the Gemara over here, you're starting off like that. Just because it was good on your other beged, that was good because it snapped off. But when you undo it, now you're starting all over again, and now you cannot use a short string. That's the chiddush. Shmas mino matir me beged lebeged. There's a chiddush because Rav, the Goladar, says you're not allowed to take from one beged to another. Why? What's the problem? It's a zilzul. You're putting down the mitzvah of tzitzis, taking from here to there. Says the Gemara, it's not a zilzal. I'll tell you why. Dilma di bloy. We're talking about a beged that is worn out. And a worn out beged is not a busha to take from here and put it over there. For carrot, you're saving it. Now you're giving it new life. Taner Rabbana. Talish et kulat chelas. Kol minei tzivoin and poitrim baraboisai. The halacha is that every tzitzis needs, should I sit down? Every tzitzis needs 2 colors. Every garment, you need 2 colors. So you need typically blue and white. Chutz, everything will work on this one. Chutz mekali ilan. If you put blue strings, it's no good. Now you don't have the 2 colors. Meisvei, talis, ain't part of the boilamina. A talis, let's say you have a red garment, you need red tzitzis on it. If you're in the army and you have a green shirt and you need green strings, that's what it says over here. But if it's blue, maybe you have to take another color. You have to take blue with another color. And certainly you shouldn't use kali ilan. Where's this kali ilan thing? Okay, kali ilan. Vimhevi kosher. It's okay. You can go back. You go back that other way. Vimhevi kosher. So it says over here that it's okay if you use all 4 strings blue. You can use kali ilan. You shouldn't, but if you did, it's okay. And before he said it's possible. Contradiction. There's a difference between 4 strings and 8 strings. In other words, what's this? I don't know. Oh, Rabbi say 4 strings. You see, 4 strings. 2 are blue, and 2 are blue. Now, Yoshi exaggerated. Here, do me a favor. Give me that thing. I want to show the Kol Elon thing, that chart. So, okay. In reality, Yoshi just did it so you could understand what the Gemara is saying. So one is lighter than the other, you see? But in reality, they look pretty much the same. And the Gemara says human eye cannot differentiate. The art test that you could do, that we're going to see on tomorrow's daf on the bottom, if we get there. But in Yoshi's thing, it's a little lighter, bedafka, just to show you that one is Kali Elon and one is real Tchelis. And that's possible, because now all 4 strings are the same exact color. Thank you. But if you have 4 strings, two are Tchelis and 2 are white, just like this, plus he added 4 Kali Elons, so the Brisa says don't do it. But if you did it, it's kosher. Now, it's kosher. Why is it kosher? Because you did it the right way. You have 2 colors. All you need is 2 colors. You have blue and blue. Blue and white is great. So why is it a problem? The problem is not because of Al Tosef. That we said, Rabbi said, let me Chazarah again. If you're putting all the strings together in one, it's not about Tosef. For instance, there used to be a minhag of having a bunch of aravis or teimanim till this very day. They put 50 adasim. There's no problem about Tosef. About Tosef is to take a whole nother lulav and esrig. That's about Tosef. But if you're just adding to it, adding more strings in that one thing, it's not about Tosef. If you add another gdil, another whole thing, that's about Tosef. So what is the problem? The problem is you might open it up, and you might use the kala elon, the fake stuff, the indigo, you might use it on another tzitzis. And that's a problem. Shatnas and everything else. Oh, wait a minute. You're concerned that somebody's going to undo it and use the 4 blues. The guy comes, he's a big chacham. He says, wow, there's 8 strings here. I got a freebie. I got 4 free tchelis strings. Let me just undo this and have 4 free strings. But guess what? He won't know he got it as a gift. He won't know it's Kol Elon. Now he's going to use Kol Elon somewhere. You see that you're allowed to undo it? No. Dilma di Yavad. It's not pshat that he did it. Pshat is he was over and he did it. Itmar. So we have machlokes. Are you permitted to go from one beged to another? Are you allowed to undo your tzitzis? As I mentioned before, Rav says it's aser, Shmuel says it's mutter. There's another halach that Rav says you're not allowed to light one Chanukah light to the other. Ushmuel Amar madlikim ner l'ner, you're permitted. Rav Amar ein halach Reb Shimon begrira. Oh, this is an original picture I sent Yoshi on Friday, and this is the upgraded version. Now, what's the problem? The problem is you're not allowed to make a groove in the ground. It could be chayrish, it could be other stuff. Let's call it chayrish, and literally you can see the bench. Now, obviously, if you know for 100% certain, you're certain that it's going to happen. Even Reb Shimon says you're not allowed to do it. But if you don't know for sure that's going to happen, yeah, it's whatever. It's pretty solid ground, but that's called Dover She'enim Miskaven. The famous Reb Shimon, Dover She'enim Miskaven. He didn't have intent to make a hole in the ground. My master, who's his master? Rabbi Menachos. Rabba, the famous Rabba. Rabba did everything like Rav. Besides these 3 things that he did like Shmuel. Now what? He holds like Shmuel that you're allowed to take tzitzis from one garment to the other. And Chanukah, you're allowed to go from one candle to the other to another menorah. That if you're permitted to drag a bench across the ground, even though it might create a ditch or whatever it is, it's not on purpose. Dav Shem Miskaven is mutter. The Sanya, on condition that you don't have in mind to make that groove. Yishkoyach for everybody for coming all the way out here. A good Voch. Thank you so much.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.